Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how I clean and condition my paintbrushes to extend the life of the brush. So stay tuned. Hello everybody. So today I'm bringing you another quick tip on how I clean my paintbrushes. So here I've got a collection of kind of small paintbrushes. I've been doing a bunch of small detail on rocks. So on paintbrushes that have, I don't even know if you can you see how small these bristles are? On a paintbrush like this, you definitely want to keep them clean or you'll ruin this paintbrush pretty quick. So this is what I do. I take my water with the loofah sponge. I will link the video on how I do this below, but you definitely want to have your water with the loofah sponge. And then I take some of the Masters brush cleaner and preserver, and I dip my brush into the water. See if you can see everything here. And then I kind of rub my brush back and forth on this soap. And you can see that there is a little bit of paint, but because I used a loofah in my water, my paintbrushes now stay a lot cleaner. But I'm just kind of working that soap into the bristles at the end here towards the barrel. And so as you can see, I'm kind of going back and forth and working that in there. You can add a little water to kind of help soften that paint up. You can see this paintbrush is not very dirty, and this is the one that I use to paint all of my rocks black, because I tend to always paint my rocks black so it looks something like this. So I use this paint, and I'll do a whole bunch of them all at one time, so the paint buildup on this paintbrush gets pretty thick. But because I use the loofah and then I clean them in this manner, my brushes have been lasting a lot longer. So as you can you see how dirty that was? It's not as dirty as it would have been before I started using the loofah, but there is that. So now I'm going to use the loofah to get all that soap out. Now this brush is damaged just in the fact that it splays. I don't know if you can see. And that's from rubbing it along the rocks. So this part of the bristles is ruined. But if you can see the parts that don't flare out, this paintbrush still comes to a very nice taper. And this is a angle shader. So it's kind of like a flat paintbrush at an angle. But see how tight that will get? And what I will do is wipe it one more time on the rock or on the soap, and I'm going to leave this on there, and I'm going to reshape that brush. See that nice angle? And try to get those bristles that want to flare out. I want them to lay down. So I'm just going to, what I'm doing is picking up some of that soap and preservative and getting those bristles to lay down. And then I'm just kind of reshaping my brush. Get it down here where you can see it. See how it's all reshaped now? And then I'm going to actually let it dry with that preservative on it. And when I let it dry, I'm just going to set it down to the side and let it dry laying flat. You don't want to set them in a container on end, because the moisture will seep down into the barrel, and that's not good for your brushes. So again, here's another paintbrush. We're just kind of working up a lather. And once I got some soap on my brush, I use the palm of my hand to help work it into those bristles down towards the barrel to help break up that paint that's down there at the very end, which is the area that's really going to screw up your bristles. If I slow down, you see I'm just going back and forth, but I'm bending those bristles and trying to work that soap into the very end of that paintbrush. Then I kind of clean off my hand so that the dirty soap ends up in my water glass here. And then again, I'm rubbing that onto the loofah sponge at the bottom, kind of back and forth, you know, or around in large circles. You don't want to just scrub it back and forth and do more damage to your bristles. You still want to be kind of gentle with them. And the fibers of the loofah sponge soften when they're in water. So now we're going to reload some of the soap and preservative onto my brush, and then you can see I've reshaped it, and then I'm going to let it dry. And we just leave that preservative on it, and it actually says on here shape brush to a point and allow to dry with clean lather on for extra conditioning. So that's actually what it says to do. So I'm wetting this brush down. Again, we'll do this. I just happen to have a lot of brights, flats and brights in my paintbrush collection today. Again, just using the palm of my hand to work that in. And ever since I started using this method of cleaning my brushes along with the loofah, they have really been lasting a long time. Especially since I use a lot of small brushes for painting when I'm doing my rocks. It's really extended the life of my detailed brushes. Now we'll lather some up and reshape it. So my brush is going to end up drying in this shape, which is exactly what I want it to do. That helps recondition it and reshape it. And this brush is pretty dirty. This is the brush I use with my what is that powder called? Mica powder. So it gets pretty dirty. May add just a little water to that, just to. This one's stained pretty good. Now the staining of the brush is fine because the paint is going to stain the brush, and that's probably not going to come out. What you're wanting is to just make sure that all of the residual paint is out. And you can see that I don't have much residual paint because I clean my brushes so well in the water while I'm painting. Yeah, that was pretty dirty. I'll run that in here against that loofah. Squeeze the excess water out of there. You can see how it's stained, but it is clean. So now I'm just gonna pick up a little extra water because my soap is getting kind of dry down here, so I want to be able to get some on here so that I can reshape it. You can see how well that's shaped up, and then we'll let that one dry. I've just got one more. This is my little bitty one. Get a good lather on it, work it in there. And clean that off. And as you can see, it comes to a very fine point. So we'll just go back. I think I got too much water on there. So let me just get some cleaner on there. And this is a round, so I don't want to make it flat. I want to make sure that it all comes to a nice point. And there we go. That's a very nice little fine point. If I roll it, you can see. And that'll extend the life of this brush significantly. And put your container back together and you're all set. Let these dry and they'll be good to go for your next painting. I hope you enjoyed this tip and I hope it helps you out a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.